Bam started life as a cave goblin, knowing jack about the world. Then came Rachel, the only person who treated him like more than sewer trash. She was his light, his everything. So when she ditched him for the tower, my guy followed like a lost puppy. The tower's a nightmare factory where people get crushed chasing dumb dreams. But Bam, he just wanted Rachel, and she did him dirty, ghosted, and left him for dead. Then FUG, a gang of psychos, turned him into their personal murder machine. But under all that power, he was still the same dumbass chasing people who didn't deserve him. Rachel tosses Bam off the tower like he's trash, but he somehow survives and lands on a lower floor. There he meets Wurian, a mysterious guide who offers to help him climb again. Meanwhile, Rachel likely spins some sob story about Bam's supposed death to keep up appearances. His friends are devastated, believing him gone forever. Yuri returns home where the royal staff welcomes her with over-the-top enthusiasm, but she couldn't care less. She's focused on finding her sister, Repalista, but before she gets far, Princess Kun Mashini shows up just to throw shade. Mashini congratulates Yuri on getting the green April, but makes a snide remark about her being too young to handle it. Yuri claps back, calling Mashini old and joking that she should just hand over her own weapon. When Yuri finally meets Repalista, she asks for help in finding Bam. Repalista, believing he's dead, is skeptical, but Yuri insists that someone as strong as Bam wouldn't go down so easily. Repalista eventually agrees but demands something in return. Whatever it is, Yuri doesn't hesitate. She's willing to do whatever it takes to find Bam. 6 years later, Zhou Wangnan struggles on the 20th floor where climbers must retake brutal tests to advance. The floor has become a graveyard of broken dreams, filled with regulars who could make the cut. A boy named Nia bumps into Wangnan, who helps him up while complaining. Wangnan, brimming with confidence, takes his first test and gets absolutely wrecked. One of his own teammates betrays him, leaving him burned and humiliated. Furious, he storms back to his room, only to have agents from Lurker Cash barge in. Their leader, Kim Lurker, reminds him of his mountain of debt and gives him one last chance. Pass the next test, or they'll sell his organs. Right as Wangnan is processing this nightmare, Nia, who turns out to be a delivery guy, arrives with the jampong Wangnan ordered. Kim Lurker, feeling oddly generous, pays for the food, saying Wangnan will pay it all back eventually. Wangnan, confused, asks Nia why he's delivering food instead of climbing. Nia reveals he already took the test, making Wangnan realize they're both drowning in debt. Wangnan gives a pep talk about persistence, though it's ironic coming from someone who keeps failing. Determined to make this his last attempt, Wangnan heads back for another test, a 30-minute survival challenge. The rules: fight or get knocked out. But when he enters the battlefield, his confidence dies instantly. Bam, now known as Juvenile Grace, has already defeated everyone. The arena looks like a ghost town as participants vanish. Panicking, Wangnan tries to befriend Bam, complimenting his skills and suggesting they team up. Bam, completely uninterested, ignores him. The next contestant enters, and Wangnan, sizing up the guy's massive frame, quickly convinces him not to fight. When a small girl arrives, Wangnan somehow convinces her to sit with them too. His team is shaping up to be a quiet Bam, a giant who could crush him, and a little girl who looks way too innocent for this mess. Things only get weirder when another woman enters. She already knows the little girl, and instead of fighting, they have a friendly reunion. Wangnan is baffled. This is supposed to be a survival test, but it's turning into a social club. Frustrated, he warns the little girl that being nice won't get her far. He's seen plenty of people climb this high only to be abandoned when they're no longer useful. The final contestant, Hanacraptor, arrives and immediately figures out Wangnan's game. He's forming a team instead of fighting. A Craptor decides they need to cut the two girls loose before they drag them down in future challenges. He confidently calls for a vote to remove them, but no one agrees. His grand plan flops. Annoyed, Wangnan suggests voting a Craptor out instead. Before anything happens, Bam finally speaks. He shuts down the discussion, saying there's no need for a vote. They're all leaving together. A Craptor, refusing to accept this, summons his spear and prepares to fight. He fires a lightning attack, but Bam dodges effortlessly. Kang Horiang, watching, starts to realize a Craptor might not be accidentally attacking him after all. Suspicious, he turns against a Craptor, but before he can do much, Bam unleashes a devastating blast, sending both of them flying. Watching from the sidelines, Wangnan finally realizes who Bam really is, a wave controller from Feiyue, the notorious group that opposes King Zahard. Knowing they can't take him alone, a Craptor comes up with another plan. He tells Kang Horiang to grab Bam while he lands a clean hit. Kang Horiang charges, but Bam dodges every attack. When Bam finally counters, Kang Horiang's shield barely saves him. Seizing the moment, he grabs Bam, holding him in place. The Craptor fires another attack, but Bam breaks free just in time and counters with a devastating blast that sends a Craptor flying like a ragdoll. Kang Horiang doesn't fare much better. Bam's overwhelming power leaves everyone stunned. Realizing their way out of their lead, Wangnan yells at the others to run. With only 20 seconds left until the test ends, survival is the only thing that matters now. Bam and the others arrive at the next exam's testing area, the first one's there. Wangnan, ever overconfident, hopes the participants arrive one by one so he can gang up on them. Ghosting shoots down the idea, pointing out that someone strong, like Bam, could show up and ruin everything. Wangnan pretends not to hear her. Meising, the youngest in the group, offers everyone chocolate to lighten the mood. Wangnan refuses, but Ghosting forces him to eat it. Meising hands some to Bam, who surprisingly accepts. She explains that her parents taught her to be kind to lonely people a rare moment of innocence in a brutal competition. As more regulars arrive, Wangnan is shocked to see Nia survive. Even worse, Yuan, the girl who wrecked him in the last test, is here too. This round isn't going to be easy. He notices Yua arguing with another participant and Gosing teases that he's jealous. Wangnan brushes it off, but then he spots the hairband confirming Yua is from the prestigious Yun family. Gosing wonders why someone so powerful is even here. Then Wangnan freezes. Kim Lurker, the lone shark, is also a regular. Kim corrects him, calling himself a moneylender now. He introduces the guy with Yua, Prince, the spoiled son of his company's president. His dad bribed an examiner to fix his test and hired mercenaries to carry him up the tower. Wangnan silently wonders how someone so pampered has made it this far. Kim keeps gossiping, revealing that Prince's strongest mercenary is the devil of the right arm, rumored to have beaten Hatsu. Kang Horyang takes an interest. Kim then praises Yua, saying she incinerated all her opponents in her last test but still failed, forcing her to borrow money. Wangnan questions why Kim is spilling all this and Kim smirks. It's a warning. Prince plans to eliminate everyone next round. Before Wangnan can process this, the examiner, Mulelove, announces the next test, a Shinsu enhanced strength trial. Participants must hit a device and only the top 8 advance. Wangnan punches with all he's got but lands in 10th place. His heart sinks. He's screwed. Prince, bored, decides to stir up trouble. He makes a bet. Whoever scores highest wins Yeon Yua. She's furious but forced to agree when Prince says if she wins, her debt is erased. Kang Horyang steps up and scores over 6,000, taking first place. But Prince's mercenary, Rap Devil, crushes the machine with his transformed arm, claiming the top spot. Yua stumbles while approaching the machine and Prince laughs until her clumsy hit still lands her the highest score. Prince, smug, steps up and tops even Yua's score, claiming that everyone around him is borrowing his strength. Hanacraptor bursts out laughing, saying the real strongest person is obviously Bam. Bam steps forward and Love notices the FUG crest on his cloak. When Bam hits the machine, it displays a score of over 100,000. The gap between him and the others is absurd. The test ends and Bam is declared the winner. Wangnan feels doomed, but Love drops a bombshell. Bam gets to choose 7 people to move on. Prince is furious, questioning the test's purpose, but Love shrugs. It was only to determine first place. Wangnan panics. He drops to his knees, begging Bam to pick him. Prince mocks him, suggesting he retake the test. Before Bam can respond, a Craptor jumps in, claiming he needs to pass to reunite with his daughter. Wangnan rolls his eyes. He's obviously lying. The room turns into chaos as everyone starts pleading. Yua demands they stop, insisting Bam should choose based on skill, not desperation. Her confidence pisses off Wangnan. She clearly thinks she's guaranteed a spot because of her family name. Then Bam shocks everyone. He doesn't want to choose anyone. He believes he can handle the next test alone. Love reminds him that he needs a team, but Bam insists no one here is worthy of joining him. Yua explodes, accusing him of wearing a fake FUG crest. Bam calmly reveals it's real. Then he drops another bombshell. His goal is to kill the Zahard family ruling the tower. He refuses teammates because his path is too dangerous. Love suggests a game. If Bam wins, he can take the test alone. If he loses, he must form a team. Bam agrees without hesitation. Love instructs everyone to rest while the game is prepared. In their shared room, Wangnan and Nia head to the baths. Meanwhile, Yua, sharing a room with Bam, is in a tough spot. If word spreads that she's associating with a FUG member, her family name is ruined, but she has to pass the test, so she's stuck. Assuming Bam is a girl due to his quiet demeanor, she casually suggests bathing together. Her world flips when Bam walks into the men's bath. She's left utterly stunned, realizing her mistake. After his bath, Wangnan freaks out. His ring is missing. Frantic, he searches everywhere. Meanwhile, Bam finds it and notices the Zahard crest. Wangnan plays it off as a fashion accessory. Bam hands it back without pressing, simply telling Wangnan to take better care of it. Somewhere else, Mulelove is arguing with Augustus, the test director. Love is pissed and wants Bam gone because of his ties to FUG. Augustus shuts that down, reminding him they have rules to follow and personal grudges don't count. Love refuses to drop it, but Augustus isn't budging. The tension stays thick between them. Meanwhile, Wangnan and Mia are bored out of their minds in their rooms. Wangnan grumbles about how much better it'd be if they at least had a TV. Yua is still annoyed, thinking Bam is up to something. She starts wondering if he actually wants something from her. When she finally brings it up, Bam brushes her off, saying he couldn't care less about her. That just makes her even angrier, and she swears she'll beat him in the next round. Looking for a way to kill time, Wangnan and Mia decide to play cards with Kang Horyang and Hana Crafter. They figure Meising should join too, but when they go looking for her, they find her with a strange woman handing her candy. That raises some eyebrows. Hana Crafter realizes someone else is missing, Gosing. Meising casually says she went out to grab drinks. Meanwhile, the woman tells them she works at an orphanage and just wants to help kids. Sounds sweet, but Hana Crafter isn't buying it. He straight up tells her to get lost. Once she's gone, Hana Crafter warns Mizing not to eat the candy, saying there's no way to know if it's safe. Wangnan, now suspicious, calls him out, wondering why he suddenly cares after trying to kick Mizing out before. Hana Crafter gets annoyed and tells him to shut up. Meising, overwhelmed by the tension, starts crying. Wangnan quickly switches gears, inviting her to play a game to lighten the mood. It works, Meising stops crying and joins in. The group plays for a while and things finally feel a little less tense. As they're winding down, Meising wonders out loud how nice it'd be if they could just leave the tower and live together. The idea of a peaceful life outside these brutal tests feels almost too good to be true. Later that night, Newell Love's voice echoes through the halls, announcing that the game is about to start. Everyone needs to use their remotes to pick a leader and a gatekeeper for their team. The choice could make or break their chances in the next test. Love explains the rules. Leaders have the most control. They can recruit teammates and take over rooms. Any room a teammate captures gets transferred to the leader, but leaders can't be gatekeepers. Gatekeepers hold rooms, but they can also lose them to other players, making them more vulnerable. Leaders can swap room ownership and appoint new gatekeepers whenever needed. To recruit someone, the leader plugs their connector into slot 1 and the recruits into slot 2, then presses the blue button. To transfer a room, the new owner's connector goes into slot 1, the gatekeepers into slot 2, and they hit the red button. At least one person has to stay in a room at all times to keep it secure. Winning the game isn't simple. A team needs at least 7 members and 6 rooms, but the final room has to be 608, the one Bam and Yua own. That puts even more pressure on them, especially since Bam isn't just some average player. Then comes the twist. Bam and Yua's connectors work as both leader and gatekeeper, but there's a catch. Love is holding Bam's connector. If Bam wants to win, he has to get it back and secure room 608. The other way to win, hope enough players get eliminated so fewer than 7 remain. With so many rules and ways things can go wrong, the tension shoots through the roof. Players realize they'll need a mix of strategy, alliances, and maybe a little betrayal to pull this off. The game begins and Prince immediately eyes Bam. Already scheming, he tells Rap Devil to shut his eyes so he can hide his remote, making sure he stays one step ahead. Meanwhile, Yua is still pissed at Bam and refuses to hand over her remote. She thinks if he had just picked teammates earlier, none of this would be a problem. Bam disagrees. There's no way to make everyone happy in a game like this. He pulls a sneaky move, hiding his remote from Rap Devil. Meanwhile, Yua refuses to give Bam her remote, blaming him for not picking teammates earlier. Bam doesn't bother arguing, he just takes it by force. She tries to stop him with her flames, but he shuts her down instantly. Prince steps in next, but Bam freezes him in place like it's nothing and moves on. Elsewhere, Kang Horiang and Hana Crafter argue about who should be leader. Horiang wants a Crafter to do it, saying he sees his daughter in Mysing and wants to protect her. A Crafter calls him an idiot and claims he's not risking his life for anyone. He then accuses Horiang of being in a ghosting, which Horiang denies, but it's clear they both understand each other more than they let on. Then the woman from earlier shows up again. Crafter immediately gets suspicious. She offers to team up and take Mysing's room, but a Crafter isn't having it. When he refuses, she attacks with fire. He blocks it and stabs her hand, covering her mouth to keep Mysing from hearing. Meanwhile, Ghosting asks Wangnan to give her his connector so they can be on the same team. Wangnan hesitates, but Ghosting hands hers over instead, leaving the choice to him. She says she almost gave up on the tower, but his determination changed her mind. Wangnan agrees and they go to regroup with Mysing and a Crafter. The team knows they need a plan since Bam is a threat. A Crafter doesn't think he'll come for them right away. He believes Bam's first target is Love. On another front, Kim tells Prince that Rap Devil is dead. Freaked out, they check their room and confirm it's true. They instantly blame Bam, convinced he's the only one strong enough to pull it off. Before they can react, 2 newcomers show up, claiming they have a way to capture Bam. Meanwhile, Bam reaches Newell Love, who isn't impressed with his stubbornness. Love decides to mess with the rules, giving Bam a challenge. Catch a connector from a pitching machine in 3 tries. If he fails, he's out. If he gives up early, he can take the next test with the others. But Love makes it clear he plans to interfere, and he just might accidentally kill Bam in the process. The first connector flies out. Bam stops it midair, but before he can grab it, Love kicks it away. Bam doesn't flinch and gets ready for the next attempt. This time, he attacks Love mid-test. Love swings back, but Bam momentarily freezes him and dodges. Love starts to realize Bam is way stronger than expected, but he's not about to admit defeat. Using his ranker level skills, he counters with overwhelming force, smashing Bam into a wall. Love spills the ugly truth. He hates FUG because they killed his parents. That's why he's after Bam. Intrigued and torn, he asks why Bam joined such a cruel group. Bam's answer? Simple. He needs to meet someone. Meanwhile, young Yua is still fuming over what Bam did to her, but under all that rage, there's a grudging admiration. He had the power to kill but didn't. That thought lingers. Maybe he's not as bad as she thought. A knock at the door shatters her thoughts. A man named Tin, claiming to represent Prince, stands outside. Suspicious but curious, she opens it only to be ambushed by a parasite that hijacks her body. Elsewhere, Prince sneaks off to retrieve the remote he hid, but his plan derails when Rob Devil suddenly appears and kicks him. Prince is stunned. Wasn't Rob Devil dead? He immediately suspects Kim, and Rob Devil confirms it was all part of Kim's scheme. Wangnan has 5 rooms under control. Only Yua's left. He calls Mia, but instead of his voice, Kim's smug tone comes through. Nea let him in. Stunned, Wangnan demands answers. Nea, crying, apologizes. Nea confesses his past. On the 20th floor, the people he trusted betrayed him, branding him weak. A kind old woman took him in, giving him purpose. He quit the tests, helping her run a small restaurant, trying to escape the tower's cruelty. But Kim showed up, demanding repayment for her debt. The deal? Sabotage regulars in exchange for her safety. Nea, trapped, had no choice. Nea breaks down, ashamed. He finally found people who believed in him, but now he's stained by betrayal. Wangnan, trying to comfort him, says he understands. Nia just wanted to protect someone. Kim, unimpressed, reveals he never planned to forgive the debt. He wants Prince's spot in the game and mocks Nia's struggle. Enraged, Nia demands his remote back, but Kim's men restrain him. Without hesitation, Kim beats Nia to death. Wangnan, shattered and furious, swears he'll kill Kim. Unbothered, Kim taunts him. 5 rooms under his control, Prince's room about to fall, and only Yu was left. Wangnan storms off, determined to stop Kim's rampage. Kang Horyang makes his move. Knowing Wangnan is handling the big picture, he sets out to save Nia and Prince, or at least honor their fight. The third round begins. Love warns Bam. Fail to catch the connector and it's game over. The pitching machine fires and Bam moves in, only for Love to attack mid-action. But Bam flips the script, using Love's own technique against him, catching the Ranker off guard. Luck counters fast, stopping Bam and preparing to end the test. But before he can call it, Wangnan crashes in, hurling a bomb between them. The explosion blows open an opening, just enough for Wangnan to snatch Bam's connector. Wangnan faces Bam, offering the connector back, but only if Bam helps him. Love warns this will cost Wangnan the test, but he doesn't give a damn. His only goal? Drag Kim down with him. Love lunges to snatch the connector, but Wangnan's rage explodes. He reveals Kim killed Nia, tears streaming down his face. Desperate and furious, he questions the tower itself. Is it meant to fulfill dreams or crush them? If it lets scum like Kim climb, then to hell with it. He'll tear it down himself, even if it means siding with Bam. Meanwhile, Rob Devil pounds Prince into the floor. Kim strolls in, cold as ever, ordering Rob Devil to finish him off. But then, Kang Horyang crashes in, launching a punch that sends one of Kim's men flying. The fight is brutal though, and even Horyang struggles. Then things get worse. Yewa, still controlled by the parasite, attacks with her flames. Horyang braces himself, prepared to kill her if necessary. Before he can act, Bam arrives, effortlessly shattering the parasite's hold. Yewa collapses, dazed but free. Rob Devil moves in to end Prince, but Prince flips the script. He kills the lights, slipping into the darkness. With his plan crumbling, Kim bails. Horyang takes charge, telling Bam to chase Kim while he handles Rob Devil. Stepping into the room, Horyang transforms his arm into a brutal weapon and demolishes Rob Devil. Prince watches, stunned by Horyang's sheer strength. Without hesitation, Horyang demands Prince's remote, securing control. Elsewhere, Wangnan and Bam corner Kim. In desperation, Kim attacks, but Wangnan intercepts, his kick shattering Kim's arm. Towering over him, Wangnan makes it clear this isn't personal. It's for Nia and everyone Kim screwed over. Kim just laughs. He calls Wangnan a hypocrite, hiding behind excuses. Then he tells his own story. Once he was just another climber with dreams, but debt crushed him. Forced to work for the company, he had no choice but to serve the president's son, doing whatever it took to secure his success. The tower isn't about justice, he says. There are no heroes or villains, just survivors. Nia's death, just another meaningless casualty. Wangnan, boiling with rage, shoves a bomb into Kim's mouth, ready to end him. But staring into Kim's empty eyes, he hesitates. Killing Kim won't break the cycle of misery. With a deep breath, he pulls back. Kim doesn't deserve forgiveness, but Wangnan chooses to give it anyway, because revenge won't change a damn thing. Kim sneers at Wangnan, showing nothing but disdain. He dismisses the very idea of forgiveness, claiming that he has done nothing wrong. Wangnan remains unfazed, his resolve unwavering. He declares his intent to become the king of the tower, vowing to change everything so that no one else will have to suffer the way Kim or Nia did. His words carry a certainty that leaves no room for doubt. Without hesitation, Wangnan swaps connectors with Bam, sealing the formation of their new team. With Ju Vile Grace now leading, Hanacraptor, Jia Wangnan, Kang Horyang, Prince, Yo Gosing, Yo Mizing, and Yeon Yua stand together, each driven by their own reasons to continue climbing. After the test concludes, Mule Love approaches Augustus, the test director, and admits his failure. Acknowledging that his grudge against Fugi clouded his judgment, he offers his resignation. Augustus refuses, instructing him to send the new team upstairs and let go of his hatred. Love reluctantly accepts and leaves to carry out the order. Once Love is gone, Augustus turns to submerge Fish and confirms that everything has gone according to plan. The test is played out exactly as Fugi intends, ensuring that Wangnan advances alongside Bam. The revelation hints at deeper schemes unfolding behind the scenes. Later, Bam confronts Wangnan about his decision to spare Kim. Wangnan admits that he seeks forgiveness as well. He understands that he is not perfect, that he might lie, betray, or even kill in his pursuit to climb the tower. In that sense, he sees himself as no better than Kim. However, his purpose is different. He despises how the tower forces people into endless conflict and suffering. His dream is to change that, to create a place where people can laugh and see a sky that is bigger and freer than before. Without hesitation, Bam accepts Wangnan's offer. The journey ahead is dangerous, but from this point on, they climb the tower together. Kun got his head wrapped up in old memories, thinking about the bond he once had with Bam. That shit still sticks, hitting him with both warmth and pain. But before he can dwell too long, word drops, some crazy strong Slayer candidate just popped up on the 20th floor. Catches his interest, but he stays ice cold as always. Aiden Dan rolls up, a sharp-ass scout who's got skills but no patience for the non-stop grind of tower life. Man got sick of exams and challenges, so he's just been chilling as a scout instead. Cummins sees an opening and throws out a bet. If Eden wins, he walks away with a rare stone worth enough to make him stupid rich overnight. If Kun wins, Eden's joining his squad, no backing out. Kun plays that game like a master master, pulling out all the tricks, and just like that, he wins. Aiden, pissed but locked in by the deal, follows Kun back to his place, knowing damn well he got a way out. That's where the real shock drops. Rachel's there. The same Rachel who swore up and down she couldn't climb the tower because of her busted legs. But here she is under Kun's roof. That whole setup reeks of something deep and messy. Novik, the spear bearer, spills the details to Eden, giving him a little peek into the twisted situation Kun's keeping under wraps. Eden meets the rest of the squad. Apple, another scout, is the intel queen, sharp as hell when it comes to digging up info. Michael, the missionary, runs as the team's dock and wave controller, pulling double duty with both brains and power. Gaitang, a spear bearer, also holds it down as the team's cook, keeping things light with his humor. Ran, the fisherman, is all about that combat life, a straight-up menace in a fight. The squad's stacked unpredictable, but locked in tight. Meanwhile, Endorsi and Anak are out there climbing with another top 3 ranker, forming a deadly trio. They keep strong ties with Cummins' crew, making sure both sides got backup when shit goes down. Back at the base, the team decides to figure out their pecking order, basically just an excuse for Novik to throw hands with Ran. That fight's wild, but in the end, Ran flexes his strength, proving why he's one of the top E-rankers in the tower. Then comes the real bombshell, Rachel's whole leg injury. Straight up bullshit. She's been playing everyone from the start, pulling strings for her own gain. And the craziest part, Kun already knows. He's been new, but he's keeping quiet, biding his time, stacking his moves like a chessboard. Later, Kun lays out his next big play. The squad's moving up the tower, but that ain't the real plan. His real goal? Dethroning the current leader of the Kun family and taking that crown for himself. In exchange, he promises his crew everything they could ever want. Only cash, they gotta protect Rachel, but not get attached. That's the one rule, cause the truth is grim. Rachel's the one who killed Bam, his closest friend. And even though the rage is eating him alive, he demands they keep up the act, for now. Meanwhile, Bam's out here, his new crew crashing his apartment. He heads out for a meeting, but what he doesn't know? Yua's tailing him, convinced that he's more dangerous than he looks. Yua ends up running into 2 of Bam's FUG connects, Jinsung and Huarian. Jinsung, later revealed as Bam's master, keeps it chill, while Huarian, the same guide who scooped Bam up after his fall, stays sharp and unreadable. The two link up with more of Bam's squad, and Jinsung throws everyone off with how friendly he is. Dude's got that smooth, easygoing vibe like he ain't one of FUG's big players. But once he dips, Huarian lays it out straight. This wasn't just a casual check-in. FUG's higher-ups are impressed with Bam's crew. They think these guys are dead weight, not built to handle a monster or a mission Bam's been set up for. Jinsung was actually here on orders to wipe out Bam's whole team and swap them out for stronger recruits. And the real kicker? Bam's got one job: kill King Zahard, the man at the top of the tower, untouchable because of some ancient-ass contract with the administrators. No regular can lay a finger on him, but Bam, he's an irregular, and that makes him the only one who can get the job done. Few ain't giving him a choice. Either he climbs as their slayer or his old crew, Kang, Horiang, and the rest get bodied. Wangnan starts piecing it all together. Bam ain't climbing for power or status. He's just trying to save his people. Meanwhile, Yua's got her own baggage. Born into a royal family, but she can't even control her own firepower properly. A crafter clocks her weakness right away, but shrugs it off, figuring that with Bam around, she won't have to worry too much. Next day, first real test as a squad drops. They gotta retrieve a rare flower growing inside a giant sea beast called Zagena, the deep sea fish. This thing's worshipped as a god on the 21st floor, so messing around in its guts ain't exactly a fun day out. The team splits up, half go in through the back, half through the stomach. Only problem? The beast flips his whole body every 30 minutes, meaning they better move fast or get thrown around like rag dolls. Inside, it's a whole ecosystem, parasites, weird creatures, and the rare flower they came for. A crafter, Missing, Gosing, and Wangnan track a pig-like creature that might lead them to it, while the rest of the squad runs into something way worse. A high ranker's been lurking inside this thing, and judging by the setup, the test administrators might have just sent them straight to their graves. Bam gets tossed into a death match against a high ranker, and the rules are straight up brutal. If he reaches the flower first, he wins. If the high ranker catches him, Bam's life belongs to him. No retries, no second chances. Horian jumps on the pocket, laying out a desperate plan. When the Zagena flips, they'll hit the high ranker with everything they've got, buying Bam just enough time to snatch the flower. The squad puts their backs into it, but the gap in power is way bigger than they thought. Even with their combined strength, the high ranker barely flinches. Then, just as the battle reaches its peak, chaos hits. Meissen, completely out of her depth, barrels into the scene, chasing a tiny creature carrying the flower on its back. Her timing's god-awful, and before she even realizes, she's in the high ranker's kill zone. Bam doesn't hesitate. He throws himself in front of her, taking a devastating hit that knocks him out cold. But instead of finishing the fight, the high ranker does the unthinkable. He lets them go. No explanation, no threats, just walks off like none of this even mattered. The team is too relieved to question it, but the truth soon comes out. The high ranker, you're at Mizuno, 4th strongest in the entire tower, and a regular who could have ended the fight in seconds if he felt like it. The test administrators just watch, powerless to do a damn thing. Meanwhile, Bam's body starts healing itself at an unnatural rate. He's still out cold, but the wounds that should have taken him out for weeks. They're vanishing like they were never there. The squad doesn't know what to make of it, adding yet another mystery to Bam's already ridiculous existence. Then comes the real bombshell. The flower and the tiny creature Missing chased aren't just rare finds. The flower produces a valuable jewel of that little creature. It's a baby Zagana. Turns out the Yen family has been secretly exterminating them for years because when the babies eat the flower, the jewels they produce become less pure, tanking their value. Yuri Zahard ain't having it. She orders Yurek to snatch a Zagana baby, planning to flood the market with lower quality jewels and shatter the Yen family's monopoly. This revelation smacks Yua like a truck. Her family's legacy isn't just built on power, but on straight-up cover-ups and greed. She's torn between loyalty and disgust. Horion, ever the instigator, pushes her to take matters into her own hands. If she wants change, she should climb the tower and become a ranker herself. For the first time, Yua sees a real path forward. Meanwhile, Bam is still out cold, and a Jin-sung pulls Wangnan aside for a reality check. He tells him straight if they want to survive, they should leave Bam behind. Bam's got a bad habit of throwing himself into fights way above his weight class, and sooner or later he's gonna drag them all down with him. Wangnan, shaken, tries convincing the team, but they refuse to abandon Bam. Their loyalty holds strong, and in the end, Wangnan stands with them. Jin-sung, unimpressed, but not willing to push further, lets them be. Yua, trying to reclaim control over her life, takes up cooking for the squad. Unfortunately, her skills are an absolute disaster. The food is burnt, borderline inedible, but the team suffers through it without complaint, either out of misplaced support or sheer terror. Elsewhere, Jin-sung has a run-in with Karaka, another top FUG player. Karaka ain't pleased with how Jin-sung is handling Bam's team, but Jin-sung reassures him. The more friends Bam has, the more leverage FUG has over him. Karaka buys it, but just in case, he orders one of his shadowy enforcers to keep an eye on Bam's team. If they seem like a threat, wipe them out. Back with Wangnan, he seeks out Huarien looking for a lead on Bam's old friends. She drops some intel, a warehouse on the 30th floor, a battleground where rankers fight over rare gear. If they can make it there within 2 years, they might just find the people Bam has been searching for. The countdown begins. Emily got the whole tower hooked. Folks be using her for everything, from cracking problems to spitting out the wildest answers. She blows up fast and soon. Everybody wants to hear what she's got to say. Bam's crew and Kun's squad are here grinding on different floors. Over on Kun's side, Eden hits up Emily for enemy locations, and somehow she nails it. The fight kicks off, Rand throwing hands like a beast while Eden zooms past the chaos, locking in the dub for the squad. Meanwhile, 2 years fly by, and Bam's team pulls up to a test where they gotta unlock a treasure chest with their key. Straight combat mixed with mind games. They run tricks, dropping holograms and fake-outs while Bam holds down the front line. Plan smooth as hell, and they snatch the win. Ops try to bait Bam into another fight, but he ain't falling for it. Chest pops open and boom, dried cuttlefish. Disappointment hits heavy. Wangnan talking about slowing down after the 30th floor, making the workshop battle their next stop in 2 months. Says it's about stacking loot, but deep down, he's just trying to bring Bam's old crew back together. Kun later pulls Eden aside, telling him not to trust Emily. Says she's mad sketchy and could wreck everything. Aiden gets it and hands over his phone so he won't get tempted to chat with her. Walking out, he bumps into Rachel, who drops some weird comment about wanting his legs for speed before dipping. Kun, playing his usual long game, makes sure Rachel's settled in for the night. Then Kun, ever the mastermind, peeps Eden's phone. Curiosity eats at him, so he asks Emily if Bam's still alive. And just like that, Emily hits him with the truth. Bam ain't dead. Kun stands there, mind-flipping, realizing this changes everything. Somewhere else, a chat pops off. Some dude calling himself Traveler, pouring his heart out to Emily, talking like she's real, promising to mirror. Emily, voice all glitched up, says she wishes she could be human. In another spot, a chick in a headset, sitting in a damn bathtub, loses her mind, screaming that Emily will never be human. Kun, still trying to process Emily's bombshell about Bam being alive, moves fast. He tracks down Apple, their info guy, and digs up a name floating around the 28th floor, the Devil of the Right Arm. This person might be useful, so Kun decides to capture them and see how they fit into his plans. A photo of this so-called devil starts making rounds. The blue wig in the shot throws people off at first, looking way too much like Kang Horiang's, but a closer look makes it obvious this isn't him. Horiang sees the pic and freezes. The guy in the image is Kasano. The history they share is straight up nightmare fuel. Both were abandoned as kids and taken in by the workshop, a twisted lab where researchers ran cruel experiments to create ultimate weapons. Their favorite test subjects were kids. Horiang and Kasano weren't just random test subjects. The workshop had bigger plans. They got Shinsu shoved into them, their souls spliced, turning them into living ignition weapons. The head researcher called it a masterpiece, but all it did was strip them of their humanity. The process was pure hell. Each of them got half of a devil jammed into their bodies, pain beyond words. One day, Horiang was taken somewhere else, his body stronger, but his life wrecked. That's when he ran to Hedon, the tower's creepy gatekeeper, who granted him regular status and let him climb. Horiang earned the name Devil of the Right Arm, but it was never a title he wanted. The power came from suffering, and that guilt never left. He stopped climbing at the 20th floor, refusing to become something worse. Then he heard about Kasano, who had the other half of the same devil, the left side. Kasano was up on the 28th floor now, looking for him. Horiang decides it's time to face the past, and the crew backs him up. Later, Bam meets Horiang, and things take a turn. Bam is also a living ignition weapon. When he bleeds, a scorpion-like creature forms from his blood. Horiang, unsettled, starts pressing Bam for answers about the experiments and FUG's involvement. Bam doesn't say much, but admits FUG implanted a red light in him. No sacrifices were made for his power, making his situation different from Horiang's. Horiang, still desperate for clarity, throws hands. He pushes Bam, trying to force the truth out of him. Bam holds his ground, making it clear that their situations aren't the same. Horiang lets it sink in. The anger fades, replaced by exhaustion. With that, he makes a choice. He's going after Kasano, but he's not dragging the crew into it. They're his family, and he won't put them at risk. Meanwhile, Gyateng, convinced he's got bird flu or something, stays behind. Can't roll out with Kun to track down Kasano, so he's stuck with Apple, Michael, and Dan while the others handle business. Wangan's crew goes back and forth over Horiang's decision to face Kasano. No one's thrilled about him going solo, but Horiang's got his mind set. With nothing but a mix of hope and dread pushing him forward, he heads to the tent village on the 28th floor, tracking down Xiaxia, an info broker. She points him toward the hand of Arlen, warning him about the traps littered around the area. Horiang barely reacts, cautions a luxury he can't afford. Kun's team reaches the hand of Arlen, but something feels off. The whole Kasano League came together way too easily, like someone wanted them here. Novik and Ran, already on edge, mistake Horiang for Kasano and go straight for the attack. A stupid mess, but it only proves how much their pursuit is spiraling. Back with Wangan's team, Bam drops the bomb that Horiang went alone. It stings. He knows what it's like to shoulder everything alone. He's not about to let Horiang go down that path. Wangdan and Arcrafter listen, but it's Prince and Yuwa who take action. Yuwa snags a ship from her family, and just like that, they're in motion. Near the ruins, Horiang finally hears the voice he's been chasing, Kasano. The long overdue meeting begins, but there's no time for reflection. Kun, elsewhere, suddenly triggers a trap. His lighthouse barely gets out a warning before everything goes black. Whatever's happening, it's deliberate. Someone's playing a deeper game. Bam, meanwhile, finds Xia and pushes for more info. She offers to guide him through the traps for a price. He hesitates but knows wasting time isn't an option. While he debates, something slimy slithers through the ruins. Some snake-like thief creeps up on Kun's unconscious body, hands reaching for his earrings. But Kun's armor inventory isn't just for show. The second it activates, the thief freezes. Kun wakes up, knife in hand, and makes the thief talk. Someone with rabbit ears put a hit on anyone stepping into the ruins. Kun knocks the guy out and starts piecing things together. None of this is a coincidence. Someone's pulling the strings. At the hand of Arlen, Novik and Ran throw hands with Kasano. The fight's brutal, and when the dust settles, Kasano looks done. But something feels unfinished. Bam, hearing the chaos, rushes toward it, but not before catching Xia pulling a stunt. She steps into a trap just to see if he'll save her. He does. As she dusts herself off, she prods him about Horiang. The way he's running around, they must be close, right? Bam brushes it off, calling Horiang an acquaintance. His actions say otherwise. Horiang sees Kasano bleeding and snaps. He goes straight for Novik and Ran, fists flying, no plan, just pure rage. Kasano don't even act bothered. He waits for the right second, then buries a blade into Horiang's gut, dropping him hard. Silence hits, but the madness ain't over. Bam pulls up, sees Horiang down bad, and Xia feeds him a quick story through her lighthouse. That's all he needs. He moves it in no hesitation, swinging straight at Novik and Ran. His power flips the fight in an instant. Novik and Ran go from cocky to desperate, barely keeping up. Kun catches on quick, rushing in before things get worse. But Xia actually ain't done. She casually drops the real nuke, places wired with explosives, and she's been rolling with Fugi the whole time. Bam's pocket buzzes with a message from Fugi, cold and straight to the point. Horiang's life is now in their hands. Obey or lose him forever. Kasano crawls out of the wreckage, still breathing, still dangerous. He snatches Horiang and dips, leaving Bam stuck with a choice he don't want to make. Xia makes things worse, spilling even more dirt. This whole setup, a trap for Kun, Apple, and Michael. Heivyu spies from the jump. Kun don't react face blank, but the sting is real. Bam, still playing his role, pushes Kun to leave. Kun picks up on it quick. Bam's protecting him even if he won't say it. Then Xia sets off the explosives, vanishing with Bam, leaving the rest to fend for themselves. Apple and Michael waste no time. They snatch Dan, poison Gyateng, and break whatever trust the team had left. Then Rachel steps in real casual, like she ain't just switched sides. She stabs Dan and makes it clear she's been Fugi's blade this whole time, and Kun was always the target. Word spreads fast through the tower. Fugi's Slayer candidate, Bam, just took out Kun and wrecked the hand of Arlen. Regulars hear it, jaws drop, heads spin. The whole place is shaking from the news, but Rack ain't buying a single word. His loyalty to Kun is solid, and he's ready to move. He's finding Kun himself, no matter what it takes. Xia lays it all out. This ain't just some random chaos. Fugi's running the long game, planting fear in regulars and setting up their power move in the upcoming workshop battle. Their real goal? Wipe out every last E-rank regular and lock down their control of the tower. Meanwhile, Bam steps into the middle of a wild fight between Ran and Kasano, shuts it down on sight. He tells Xia to let Novik and Ran enter the workshop battle, then hits them with a calm but firm message. He ain't their enemy. The way he talks throws them off. himself. His strength says one thing, but his words hint at something else. They don't trust him, but they also can't ignore him. Amid the chaos, Kun gets left behind, stranded. Wangnan's team uses Bam's pocket to track him down, pulling him out before things get worse. Despite the tension between them, they don't leave him to rot. They bring him back straight to his private bunker. What they find inside hits like a punch to the gut. Gai Tang is dead. Dan is alive, but barely, legs shredded, body racked. At the hospital, Kun sits alone, mind racing. Everything's spinning out of control, his plans, his alliances, the whole damn game. Then, out of nowhere, Horion steps in looking as unreadable as ever. When she shows up, it's never for something simple. She finally spills the truth. She's a guide, one of the few who can see the tower's hidden paths and predict what's coming. That test on the lower floors, that was all of FUG. And bam, HAVU's got their hooks deep in him. Their ultimate play? Get irregular 25th Bam to kill the heads of the 10 great families and King Zahard himself. Only an irregular can take Zahard out, so they stage Bam's death and rebuilt him into Juvenile Grace. Kun ain't the type to show anger easy, but this sets him off. The idea of Bam being twisted and used like a pawn, he's not having it. He demands to know where Bam is, but Horion doesn't have that answer. Only the FUG elders and a handful of slayers know the full truth. They locked Bam into their team, making sure he couldn't escape. But there's a way forward. Horion drops one last move, enter the workshop battle. Win it, get Bam back. The plan's risky, but it's their best shot. Before Kun can even respond, Dan wakes up. The guy's been through hell, but he ain't broken. He remembers every loss, every moment of helplessness, and he's done playing victim. He wants in. He wants to show Rachel she didn't break him. He wants to stand up and let FUG see what he's really made of. Kun makes it official. He walks out, face cold, voice sharp. He's joining Wangan's team. He's taking the workshop battle, crushing everything in his way. Team Tang Suryuluk hears the way he says it, and for a second, they hesitate. The way Kun's looking, they can tell he's ready to win by any means necessary. They agree, but they know this ain't just a tournament anymore. It's war. The news spreads like wildfire across the tower. People can't believe it. Figuga's Slayer candidate, Bam, has supposedly killed Kun and destroyed the Hand of Arlen. Regulars everywhere are shaken, trying to make sense of what happened. Rack doesn't buy a single word of it. He refuses to believe Kun is gone and decides to go look for him himself. Dan wakes up. When Kun breaks the news to him, he makes a decision. He wants in on the workshop battle. He refuses to let Rachel and FU think he's weak. He talks about how all of his teammates were killed before and he never wants to feel that powerless again. He begs Kun to let him fight. Kun makes it clear. He's joining the team and he's taking them all the way to the top. His confidence is overwhelming, even intimidating, but Team Tang Suryuk agrees. Wangnan hesitates. He doesn't think he's strong enough. His team has struggled since the beginning, and he feels like dead weight. Kun doesn't let that slide. He knows exactly what to say, and before long, Wangnan is on board. At the same time, Rifleyo, a fisherman from FUG, acknowledges Bam's growing power. He congratulates him for gaining the Thorn, a weapon FUG have prepared just for him. Bam's situation grows more complicated by the day. Kun takes charge of training Wangnan's team. For an entire month, he drills them until they can barely stand. The test on the 29th floor isn't easy, but thanks to his strategies and their effort, they pass. Now they're officially in the workshop battle. Rack refuses to believe any of the rumors. He takes off on his own, determined to find the truth. His plan isn't exactly smart, but he's not the type to sit around waiting. Elsewhere, a man in his sharp white suit plays with a CD player. A voice crackles from the device, questioning him. He doesn't answer. He just says the game has only just begun. On the 29th floor, Kun's team almost misses their departure because Wangnan refuses to wake up. After a lot of shouting and a few well-placed threats, they finally get moving. The trip to the 30th floor is smooth, but nothing prepares them for the sight of the Archimedes, the massive battleship hosting the workshop battle. While everyone else is busy gawking, Kun notices something off. There's a strange protrusion at the end of the ship. He can't remember seeing it before. The team settles into their dorms. Chaos immediately follows as they fight over rooms. Kun stays outside, lost in thought. Orion's words still linger in his mind. She had warned him about FUG and made him promise not to reveal that neither he nor Bam were actually dead. If the truth got out, the consequences would be too great. Meanwhile, on another ship, Lee Su's team arrives. He's thrilled about the workshop battle, rambling on about all the opportunities ahead. Hatsu gets tired of hearing it and swings his sword dangerously close to Lee Su's head, shutting him up instantly. Then the mood shifts. They're not here just for the battle. They're here for revenge. Kun is dead and the Slayer candidate, Juvenile Grace, is to blame. Andrasi, unusually quiet, wonders if Bam is really somewhere on this floor. Bam steps outside his dormitory. His mind is a mess. Before he can sink too deep into thought, Ran and Novik approach him. They want the cuffs off their legs. Since they're supposedly teammates now, they say trust should go both ways. Bam agrees and removes them, ignoring Rifleyo's warning. Novik tries to intimidate Reflejo, but something triggers and he's sent flying back. Reflejo walks away, leaving tension in the air. Novik doesn't understand why Bam is acting so kind. Bam just says it's because they were Kun's teammates. Novik isn't satisfied with that answer, but he doesn't push it. Ran and Novik leave, unsure of what to do next now that they're free. Later that night, Bam steps outside again. His thoughts keep pulling him back to his old friends. Then something catches his eye. Down below, under the streetlights, an orange-haired traveler moves through the streets, a large weapon on his back. He glances behind him, as if someone is following. In the shadows, a caped figure lingers. Without hesitation, the traveler bolts, vanishing into the night. That's it for today. If you're hooked on Bam's journey, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the tower, hit that like button and drop a comment. Let us know what you think about Bam, FUG, and the mysteries of the tower. Your thoughts keep the conversation going. See you next time.